quiz mindset. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us. Tonight with me, I have Khadija Collymore. I can't wait to introduce her to you guys. If you have been following us thus far, then you know it is really good. So on this episode of Battered, Bruised, Not Broken, we're about to share Khadija's story tonight so that you guys can actually hear and learn from what she has been able to overcome. So, but before we go any further, if you have not done it already, make sure you just click that button just down below and subscribe to this channel so that you are always kept abreast of what is coming next. Now, let's get into it. Khadija, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, and you?
I am good. I am good. It's good to have you. So,
Thank you so much.
Yes, you are most welcome. Tell us a little bit about you, Khadija, and what do you do?
Okay, so there's so much. I'm a mom, I'm a student, speaker, mentor. I hold so much caps. But what I can say is Khadija is a very hardworking person. She is very intentional, especially at this point in her life. She's very intentional about the things that she does and what she attaches herself to. Khadija, as I said, is a mom of one young lady, 6 years old. I was a teen mom. And yeah, I'm a student. At this point, I'm doing 2 bachelor's degrees. One psychology and management, the next one in theology. So that covers the mom, that covers the student. And then I'm a mentor to teen moms. I've been a mentor to teen moms from 2016, and up. I also mentor persons in terms of intercession and ministry sometimes. And yeah, that's basically it.
That's definitely a lot of hats. So where do you find the time to do all of this stuff?
I don't even know. It's just by God's grace, honestly. It's just by God's grace that everything kind of just falls into place. And sometimes I'm just like, wait, everything finished? Literally. It's just by God's grace.
Wow. Okay, so Khadija, you have a story to share with us about how you were able to overcome some setbacks and delays in your life. Feel free to go ahead and share with us. I can't wait to hear your story.
Okay. So what I would say is I've been overcoming setbacks and delays from the time I've known myself. Some mean, not really think of it as a setback or delay, especially the first one. This one always resonates with me because I was around 5, 6 and I was in school. And I remember being transferred from one primary school to another. And they had placed me in the lowest class. And I remember when my mom would always tell me this story. She will always go over this story year after year after year, because I believe this is something that she's very proud of. So I went into, there were levels 1, 2, 3. 3 was the lowest, number 1 was the highest. Okay. And then they had placed me into reception 3. And I had came first in class, and the principal had a meeting with her. He said, I would like to sign her up into it would be infants A2. And she said, my mom said, no, I believe you should give her some time to, get accustomed to the school, because I had gone there in the middle of the school year. So I went into infants A2. And I came in the top 3. I don't want to but in the top 3 I came. And I went to infants A3, sorry. And then I went on to B2 because I would have came in the top 3. And then when I went on to B2, I went on in class 1, I would have gone on to A1 because I came first in class. And I believe that although I wasn't aware of everything that was going on, I had the idea of, okay, I'm going to the top. And in order to get to the top, I needed to do work. And they would tell you, they never had to push me to do work. They never had to tell me do my homework. The most they had to do was push me to read because I hated reading at a young age. So I never read like reading books. But in terms of doing my schoolwork, I was always on point. I was always doing work. I was always in my teacher's face. Teacher, you have more work for me to do. I just want to get good so that I could go in the next class. Literally with her, tell them that kind of stuff. But that was like the first time that I had to overcome some sort of setback or delay. Yeah. And then the next one would have been in what? Coming on into class 3, going into class 4, I was moved again. And it was a real shock for me because there was a lot going on in my personal life. And sometimes we tend to ignore changes and that kind of stuff going on in children's personal life because we think that it doesn't matter or it doesn't affect them. But what was going on around me had affected me. I remember getting sick and was out of school for months and that kind of stuff. And I wasn't doing really well in school. And it was coming on to common entrance time. And you know, the pressure is there that you have to go to a good school. And my siblings before me, they went to all high schools. So it was on me now to, you know, continue that same legacy. And the thing about it is they had gone to the same school that I was at now. So I was the third sibling out of, so they were looking for top marks because both my brother and sister, they had gotten really good marks. And I remember like summer in the vacation, every vacation, instead of like going out, I would have to do work. Like my mom is a entrepreneur. So in her office, I had to be sitting doing work. I had to be sitting doing exam papers. From class 3 she started, and I would say it was a delay because I had dropped really far back in school because of everything that was going on. I wasn't paying attention to my schoolwork as I should have, and I dropped back. So to overcome that whole hurdle, it was so hard. Like I remember nights I would cry. I remember even getting beat because I didn't want to work. You know, was okay, going to school, coming home, doing homework, then to do an exam paper. And if you don't get good marks, it's like, this is a foolish mistake here. And you need to be better at this. I taught you this already. And it's over and over and over. I'm doing papers over and over every single day. But it did work out. It did work out. And I think from that, I always understood that overcoming a setback or overcoming any sort of thing, there's a process to it. Because every day I did it. Every day, unitary method. I went over unitary method. I went to as unitary method is something that has stuck with me from then because of how much I did it. In secondary school, I did not have any sort of problems with the unitary method because I did it so much. But it was a process. And that process took me, a year and a half or so. And I was able to come out second in the entire school. And I passed for St. Michael's. And that's coming from literally 60s and early 70s to having a 90 and a 70 at the end. So that alone, the setback coming from not doing really well because of everything that was going on around me. And then I recognized that my mom had changed a lot of stuff, cut me from a lot of people and cut me from going to a lot of places, and so that I can literally just focus on the task at hand. Right? So for me, in that situation, I learned that, as I said, setbacks are overcoming setbacks are a process, and also sometimes you need to cut certain things to overcome the setbacks. Right? The next one would have occurred when I was 16. 16. I got pregnant. And I know it was a shocker to everyone, both at school and at home. And I was in sixth form at that time, lower sixth, and basically getting ready to do exams for the most part when I found out, and I had to stop school. All of my plans were just thrown out the door. Like literally, the plan was for me to either go to England or Canada to study engineering. And yeah, I did sciences through school, which I really loved. And it was hard at first. I mean, people laughed at me.
Wow.
And I remember going into the auditorium at school, and my skirts would have gotten bigger because I was getting bigger. And people stood around me and laugh and that kind of stuff. And I overcame.
These were some of your friends that were laughing at you.
Not really friends, but persons that I would have came up from like first form to sixth form.
Okay.
Not my friends per se. My friends are actually the best friends. If I be honest with you, they were very, very open. They helped me. They taught me through it. And to this day, they're still there. Right? I remember when I wanted to get an abortion. And I remember walking to the doctor's office in Belleville to make the appointment. And my friend came up, one of my friends, she's overseas now, she came up to me and said, "You're not having an abortion. I don't care what you say, you are not having it. You are going to push through this and everything will be fine." And all of my friends took the same stance. "Khadija, you're having no abortion." Everybody was just like, "No abortion." And yeah, I pushed through it.
So what did your mother say when you found out? How did you break that news to her? I can only imagine, because judging from what you shared earlier, I can see that she's someone that wants the best for you. So
yes.
How did she take that?
She said she knew already.
Oh.
Yes. So it was like she was waiting for me to find out, because honestly, at that age, I was so naive. And I knew what they say, a monkey handling gun. I knew nothing about anything, literally, because I wasn't really taught sex education at home, because it was like, "Khadija, you go to church, you're in church, you do your schoolwork well, you have a lot of potential and you can excel. Do not go and have sex. It doesn't make sense." So like, I was just like, "All right, mommy, I'm not having sex," but it's actually having sex. And then you know what? I got pregnant. So I had missed my period for a month. And I was just like, but knowing me, I'm like, so as I said, I was so naive. Like, I was just thinking, you know what, that's just how your body does be. And I was just, and two, the sixth form is so like hectic and hard that I missed everything. I was just more focused on my work, and I was doing the sciences and math. So doing the sciences and math, it's like you're always going. You literally have no time to sleep. So I never took time to actually think and like analyze what was going on with me. So yeah, she said she already knew. I know she was very disappointed. She was extremely disappointed, but now you know what? The baby is like the apple of her eye. Yes.
Good. I like that you are open with your story, because I'm sure that there are many persons right now who are watching us here, and they may be going through a similar situation, and they may feel as though, I can't see myself bouncing back from this. I can't,
right.
They feel as though somehow they have, there've been a disappointment to their family, and they feel really down and left out and isolation, and all that is just the enemy trying to talk you out of it.
Yep.
Just because you got pregnant unexpectedly does not mean that you get to abort the mission. There's still a purpose for your life, and there's still has work for you to do. So if you are watching this and you feel that way right now, we want to encourage you. You're going to be okay. You're going to be.
You will be. Yes. And you mentioned isolation, and isolation was something that I have battled with ever since having my daughter. For all these years, for 6 years, I've battled so much with isolation. I would just isolate myself from everyone and family, etc. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You always find back yourself in the same place or worse place when you isolate.
So who did you have? I know you said you had your friends to help support you, and you also have the support of your mother. Was there any other person that was there to support you and hold your hand through the process, because everything was new for you?
It was just basically my friends and my mom. And of course, as I went along, you would meet other persons. I remember I did a parenting program, and while I was pregnant, and I had met a young lady there, and we became very close. And that was like my buddy and stuff, you know, in terms of developmental stuff and actual baby things. We would always talk and share up to this day, you know. So yeah, it was my mom. I also have my dad. My dad played a very big part. Yes, because he really loves children, so he was really there. My daddy was there. Like, I had a lot of problems during pregnancy, and every time I had to go to the hospital, my daddy would always be there, because most of the time my mom couldn't be, and my parents have strengths and weaknesses, and the hospital is my mommy's weakness. She does not like the hospital. So my daddy would always show up, and he would show up, and then he would have to still go work, you know, the next day. So that sometimes he'd be leaving the hospital, sometimes at 7 in the morning, to go home and just get ready for work. So yeah, he was spending whole night at the hospital with me, and then so my daddy was like always there.
That's really good. That's really good. I'm so happy to hear that, because we're hearing so many stories these days about fathers who are not there, you know, for their children, and to hear that he was there, he made that sacrifice for his daughter, so commendable. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah. And I also had my brother and my sister. They were also a support system as well, and they continue to be a support system. And I can't forget the godmummies and goddaddies. Like, I mean, like when I became pregnant, everybody wanted to be my daughter's godmummy or goddaddy.
Oh wow!
Like, I'm so serious. And I remember speaking to the pastor, and I was like, Pastor, because although I got pregnant, I never stopped going to church. I still continue to go. Right? And I was like, Pastor, there's so many people that want to be like, you know, be her godmom or her goddad. And the pastor said, no, don't tell anyone no. It takes a village. So let them all come up. Like, if you saw the altar that Sunday, the altar was filled and going all back into the earth.
Wow.
So many people just showed up, and they just, you know, and they're always still here. If you need them, you call on them, they help you. If she needs something and they can't get it for her, they always get it. Like, they're always there and always willing to help.
Wow, that's really good. So wait, so let's go back a bit. So you said you continue to go to church. So did you tell your pastor that you were pregnant, or you just kind of let your pastor figure it out on their own?
I actually had switched churches. So my mom was going to a church, and then I went to that church with her. So by that time, I was showing. I continued to go to the last church, and then after I started to show and stuff, I moved to the next church with her, because one it was hard for me to actually, like, you know, get to the other church, because I live in St. Lucie and that church was in St. George, and I would have to catch a bus. So with like my feet swelling and all the other things going on, it was easier for me to go to the church. I was closer to home. So basically, she would have spoken to the pastor and stuff. And yeah, they were very welcoming. And yeah, they always counseled me, and the older women would always talk to me and, you know, tell me this is not the end, and you have a bright life and a bright future in front of you. So don't worry, don't be saddened, and that kind of stuff. It was always a place and a space of encouragement.
I'm very happy to hear that. Wow, that's good. Seems like you really had some support. God really showed up for you. And
yep, he did. Like, in every single way. I was so blessed. Persons just gave, like, in terms of even like cribs, bassinet, stroller, car seat. Like, she did not lack in any way. And the thing about it is, I couldn't work, or I wasn't even working, and I never had problems with her in terms of clothing. Like, everybody just gave, like, everybody. Like, I have friends overseas, they usually come in the summer, they brought back clothes. Everybody just give. Everybody that was just coming in for that particular summer, everybody just brought clothes. And she didn't lack for nothing.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we had our baby, and now you're trying to, kind of, I would like to say, get back to a normal life, which is not quite
Mhm.
so, because I mean we have a whole is things are going to change, of course.
Yeah.
How was that for you, having to navigate now through this new process of I'm a mother? Like, so now I can't think about me anymore. Only I don't have to think about me and baby. How was that process for you?
It was actually good for the most part. It was not as hard as I think it would have been,
Mhm.
but I think that I had done so much reading that like, I had it all studied to a cue. Like, while I was pregnant, I did a lot of reading,
Mhm.
and like I also used parenting apps that would like take me through each week after, well, going up to the birth of the baby and after. So
Mhm.
like she always had like a schedule from the time she was, that
Yeah.
age. Always had a schedule. We were always, I was always doing things like kind of by the book. So it
Mhm.
wasn't that hard. Like um things happened. Like I had a C-section.
Mhm.
So that was the first thing to throw me off, because I wasn't able then to go back home. I had to stay with the
Yeah.
family
Mhm.
because my mom isn't a person that's always home. So I needed to stay with family to help me, as a C-section can be very hard. People that were around told me that I didn't um handle it as bad as the others are, how they would have handled theirs.
Mhm.
Right? I was still kind of strong.
Mhm.
So that was one. And with that whole C-section process, that alone was hard because I had a lot of problems with my cut. And like after having baby, like every other day, we have to be going back to the ward to get it looked at, to get it checked.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you can understand, having a newborn baby, having this whole thing going on with this foreign thing on your stomach, and you
Yeah.
still have to be, so that alone was hard. That was my first setback in terms of getting back to normal.
Mhm.
And then as I was able to move back home, like, it was pretty good. I would say it was pretty good. I didn't really have any problems. I was just able to maneuver. Yeah, I was able to maneuver
Mhm.
good. Yeah, through. I was able to maneuver good. Then I grew. I kind of grew up. I was able to get a job.
Mhm.
When she was about 6 months. And then I left that job and went into a better job. So then I was able to like move out, get my own apartment and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it was good, but it also came with a lot of setbacks,
Mhm.
because I think one of the things that I struggled with was relationships with men.
Mhm.
And sometimes when you bring persons that are toxic into your environment, then it causes for your environment to be toxic as well.
Yeah.
So then I would find myself always in relationships and I'm not going anywhere. I'm still the same place. Every single year, I'm still the same place that I was the year behind.
Mhm.
So for me, I had to really look at that and see exactly what I was doing wrong, you know,
Mhm.
because it would have taken me to a place where we would have been abused physically, emotionally.
Wow.
It would have taken me to a place where I would have to go back home to my mom. Although yes, I am working and I should be further, I should have had
Yeah.
my car. I should have been like, just making
Mhm.
moves,
Yeah.
right? I wasn't making any moves. I was making moves, but helping people make their moves and not making moves for myself.
Wow.
So that was a constant cycle and one of my biggest setbacks in life. Um, I wouldn't even deem faith to be the biggest setback. I believe that was the biggest setback because after having faith, I
Mhm.
had so much favor. There was so much favor on my life.
Mhm.
And then for me, it's like I couldn't see it at first.
Ah.
And then it just got to the place where I remember going into the hospital because of so much I was going through. I remember having mental breakdowns
Wow.
almost, well, every year around the same time.
Wow.
I went into the hospital once, but after that, I didn't need to go back again. I would just be treated as an outpatient. But there was so much that, I went through because of my decisions and my bad decisions. So I had to, as I said at the beginning, I'm very intentional now. So I started to become very intentional about my life and about what I do, because I understood that, or understand now, that there's a greater purpose for my life than just going over a cycle daily, yearly, monthly, and yearly. So I am on that pathway where now I am looking towards what God is calling me to do and basically running after that.
Good. So I like that. I like what you said, no, you're a lot more intentional about where you're going. But let's tap back just a bit and tell us about, was your daughter's father a part of the journey as well with you?
No, he's been there off and on. We did go back into relationships twice, but it never worked out. So if we're not in a relationship, he is basically not willing to play a part.
How did that make you feel?
Honestly, I didn't feel a way, because from the beginning he had made it known that he didn't want her. So for me, I had made it in my mind from day one that I am going to do it on my own. I know for sure that she misses the fact that she doesn't have a father, but she also has her father figures in terms of her goddads, her uncle, which is my brother, and my dad. They all play a part, or play the part of her father. So she may not have her father, but she has many father figures that she can pull on and talk to. And yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good that she, that she has those persons there willing to play that role. I know nothing can definitely replace her father, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But at least she still has someone there, to help show her the ropes. So that's really good. So okay. So now you've been able to overcome and everything. You had your delays as you went back out but how was it for you? Did you go back to school, or did you decide? I know now, you, like you said earlier, you're now studying, you're doing a bachelor's degree, but how did you get there?
Okay. So I remember back in 2018. Yeah, no, 2019. I sat myself down. I was at a place where I needed to find something to do because I wasn't working. I had given up my job because I had just gotten really sick, and it wasn't, when something isn't serving you any longer. It's serving you financially, but not serving you any other way. So I would have given up my job, and I was trying to do real estate. And for all of a sudden, real estate stopped working for me as I stopped working. I was doing really good with real estate. Yeah. And as soon as I had given up my job, everything just got hard. So I would have sat myself down in let's say March of 2019. And I said, I have to find a career. That's the only way I'm going to get out. And I tossed up between becoming a police and a teacher. And I said, okay, I want to be a teacher. The reason was because of the amount of vacation that you get. Yes, to allow me to do other things in life, And I would have applied at the ministry, but also I would have started my own business teaching. And I remember after starting the business, I had clients within my first week. Wow. Of advertising, and I did that from 2019 until let's say May, June of this year. So that's 2019, 2 years. Yeah, I did it. So for me, that's what I was doing. I started school in 2019 as well. Because I had CSCs, I didn't have to go back to get my kit. Okay. I was able to enter UE with CSCs alone. So I actually started with early childhood. because I was able to get in with that based on the requirements. Then I would have switched to linguistics with education, because I did in my first semester, I did a linguistics course, and I totally loved it. And linguistics, like, it has a place in my heart. But this year I've decided that I'm not going to teach any longer. And I said I want to do something that's more generic, that would actually serve me in life as I continue, because I believe that if I do continue, I believe if I continue with the linguistics and education, I would be a bit more marginalized and, section to what I can do in terms of profession, or just do in general. So I just switched over to psychology and management. And as I said, I'm doing my bachelor's in theology as well. And that's my whole ministerial aspect of life.
Okay, so tell us, I know we're getting ready to run out of time here, but before we go, I really want you to tell us about your ministry and how that came into play, because I know you're very passionate about your ministry. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So this is something that has been, coming into play from since 2018. I remember, I don't think I've mentioned, I know I said I went into the hospital in 2018. I went into the hospital, and that ordeal would have drawn me really, really, really close to God, my relationship with God, etc. And I remember sitting, I used to pray in my laundry room. That was my prayer closet, my laundry room. And I remember sitting in my laundry room, and God had brought, the Holy Spirit had brought this ministry to me, Hemmed by Faith. And how he explained it is that Faith, which is my daughter, had hemmed me. So, the lady with the issue of blood, she touched Jesus' hem, and she was healed, she was saved, she was delivered. So God had explained to me basically that faith was that whole ordeal with faith was the ordeal that had hemmed me, had saved me, had delivered me, and had put me into the place where he wanted me to be. Because yes, I was going on my way, but that was not what it was supposed to be. And I know for a lot of people, it was really hard to understand and comprehend, because, this bright girl, she has this bright future as an engineer or actuary or something that, she can make lots and lots of money. And no, she is deterred and she goes this other way, into ministry.
Yeah.
So yes, I got the ministry Hemmed by Faith. He gave me the name Hemmed by Faith, and he explained to me what it's supposed to do. And then that I would have understood why I had gone through everything that I had read through following up to that.
Yeah.
Because they say what you go through, you can also heal people from.
It's true.
Right? So that's how it would have came about. I always write down everything. So then I have backslided a bit. And if I be honest with you, like, I don't know, like, everything was taking too long to happen. And that was one of the things that I actually had to heal from in this particular moment. Like, I had to understand that there's a process. Again, there's a process. There's a process to everything. And in order for me to get to the next level, I have to go through the process. I have to be healed from stuff. I need things to be cut off of me. I need to understand. I need to have more knowledge. I need to have more wisdom. I need to be level. I need to go through the process of leveling up before I can be leveled up. Right? So I didn't understand that. I didn't have that maturity as yet, and I backslid. And it was only this year that I had actually said to myself, you know what? It's time for me to get serious about God. I know there's a very heavy calling upon my life, and I need not to play around anymore. And I remember as soon as I did that, I got really sick. And I had went into the hospital, and that ordeal was another setback, because I remember losing my job in that ordeal. And I was just like, well, God, I just get a nice job teaching. And everything was just planning out nice. I would have gone into full-time in September and everything, and it just wasn't to be. So what was I saying? Yeah. So I would have came back to God in earlier this year. And then like it felt like if everything that I left off, I just continued. Like even when I go into my Bible app, I remember, I think it was either this morning or yesterday morning, I was scrolling through the Bible verses you would save. And literally everything is just like a continuation. You would just see 2018 and you would see 2021. And it was literally a continuation from the scripture verses I was reading then till now. And I was just like, yo, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
but it just, as I came back into the kingdom, it was just like literally a continuation. And so he would have took me back to the book that I read, that I wrote everything about him by faith, and I read it. And it was just like, yes, you need to go forth with this. And then he gave me Khadija Collymore Ministries, and I explained it. The explanation basically was that my life is a ministry. My life, how I live my life, the things that I do with my life is a ministry. And one of the greatest or biggest things for me is intercession. And that's basically what the foundation of the ministry is, intercession. I also carry a prophetic mantle, so it would be some prophetic, but mostly intercession. So yeah, my life at this point is ministry. And I'm not a minister per se, but I am a full-time minister. So because my life is ministry. Amen. Day in and day out.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So we're about to wrap up, but before we go, I want you to, what would you say, what advice would you give to someone who is in that place where you were and what you've been able to overcome? What would be your advice to someone who's there right
now? Okay. So first of all, I would say again, it's a process. It's not microwavable. You can't just put it in your microwave and it's going to happen. Poof. It's a process. Yeah. You have to be intentional about all your decisions. You just don't make you just don't make plans, you just don't make goals and you leave them there. You're intentional about making them happen. But if I go back, make goals, set goals and basically set goals and make decisions on how you believe you can overcome what you would like to. It's not going to be easy. There are some days that you will be frustrated. There are some days that you would just want it to happen. But you know what? You will overcome one day. It's all about consistency. Once you're consistent with getting it done and going through the process consistently, putting in the work that needs to be put in, then it will happen and you will be able to overcome.
Awesome. So what's next for you?
What's next for me? Full-time ministry. Literally, yes. That's where I see my life going. And yes, I see my life, yes, just as a full-time minister, especially dealing with persons who suffer with addiction, persons who suffer with just those kind of crises. Mental health, and that's why I'm doing psychology. Like I didn't understand it at first. Why would I do psychology? But then I had the idea, you will be dealing with these people, persons who have been abused, who suffer in silence. Helping those persons and just developing around that. Right? And philanthropy, of course. But helping persons that are struggling at this point with in terms of mental health, in terms of anything of this sort, just helping them to get back on their feet. I see myself developing programs regionally to assist those persons. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us where we can find your ministry. For those persons who are watching and they've been very intrigued by what you've shared so far, and they want to go ahead and follow Khadija Collymore Ministries, tell us where we can find you.
Okay, so you can find both of the ministries on Instagram. That is Khadija Collymore Ministries, and also Hem by Faith. And you can also find Khadija Collymore Ministries on Facebook.
Awesome.
Yes.
So guys, you have heard it here first. Khadija has shared her story with us. What an amazing story of how she was able to overcome setbacks and delays, and how they are being able to help grow her and blossom her into the wonderful woman that she is today. So I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for watching in. I pray that something Khadija said touched your heart, and now you have that encouragement to continue pressing on, because you too can overcome just like she did. So remember, if you have not done it already, go right ahead, click that subscribe link below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you commented. Make sure you liked our video, and also share it with a friend that they too can gain something from what we would have shared here tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
What I find disturbing in our community, the African American community, is that we can talk about a thyroid, we can talk about cancer, breast cancer, AIDS even, but we won't deal with the mental, and that's an issue.
Sometimes you got to go back to the beginning.
From the United Kingdom, Wilma Blyden.
Next thing you know, you're in Miami just looking for dresses and trying out dresses, and just share with your friends like we do, because you're excited. Mind you, ladies, there's no engagement.